Before you and your rheumatologist decide on a biologic, ask if Xeljanz is right for you. Xeljanz tofacitinib is a small pill, not an injection or infusion, for adults with moderate to severe RA for whom methotrexate did not work well. Xeljanz can relieve RA symptoms and help stop further joint damage. Xeljanz can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers have happened in patients taking Xeljanz. Don't start Xeljanz if you have any infection, unless okay with your doctor. Tears in the stomach or intestines, low blood cell counts, and higher liver tests and cholesterol levels have happened. Your doctor should perform blood tests before you start and while taking Xeljanz, and routinely check certain liver tests. Tell your doctor if you've been to a region where fungal infections are common, and if you have had TB, hepatitis B or C, or are prone to infections. Tell your doctor about all the medicines you take. One pill, twice daily. Xeljanz can reduce RA pain and help stop further joint damage, even without methotrexate. Ask about Xeljanz.
It gave me the power to overcome the urge to smoke.
Some people had changes in behavior, thinking or mood, hostility, agitation, depressed mood, and suicidal thoughts or actions while taking or after stopping Chantix. If you notice any of these, stop Chantix and call your doctor right away. Tell your doctor about any history of mental health problems, which could get worse while taking Chantix. Don't take Chantix if you've had a serious allergic or skin reaction to it. If you develop these, stop Chantix and see your doctor right away, as some can be life-threatening. Tell your doctor if you have a history of heart or blood vessel problems, or if you develop new or worse symptoms. Get medical help right away if you have symptoms of a heart attack or stroke. Use caution when driving or operating machinery. Common side effects include nausea, trouble sleeping, and unusual dreams.
Dr. Evangelos Mikalakis has given cancer researchers a brand new lead with an old drug, a cheap, inexpensive powder that costs just pennies a dose.
You typically get this eureka kind of feeling, and it's actually the most exciting thing scientists can get.
The drug, called DCA in short, has been used for decades in humans with some rare inherited diseases. When he added it to the water of mice and rats given human cancers, the results surprised him.
And has this big tumor growing in his back. So you can see that even after 3 weeks, there is a significant or 70% decrease in tumor size.
It shrunk brain, breast, and lung tumors in the animals in a matter of weeks, and the drug had no side effects, confirmed by tests of DCA in humans for other diseases.
This kind of results, to my mind, are as good as it gets.
And it seems to work by reviving the energy-producing components of human cells, allowing the cells to work normally again, triggering cancerous cells to commit suicide. Scientists agree that DCA now needs to be tested quickly in human cancer patients.
This is exactly what we want, a drug that has activity, but has also minimal side effects for patients.
But there's a problem. DCA isn't owned by any pharmaceutical company. There's no patent on it. So on one hand, it could become a very inexpensive new treatment for cancer. On the other, drug companies won't be interested in funding studies for a drug that won't make them a profit.
This is a difficult question because typically, there are market considerations.
So now Dr. Mikalakis has to find someone who will pay for the next round of testing.
We hope that we can attract the interest of universities here in Canada and in the United States.
And he doesn't want to let the medical dream of a cheap, effective anti-cancer drug disappear just because it might not make someone a lot of money. It costs, some say, about $100 million to get a new drug through all the phases of testing onto the market. So it will be interesting to see if this old drug actually gets a new chance at becoming an anti-cancer medication. Lloyd?
Well, Avis, your report tells us that this drug has great promise. So why aren't companies and institutions lining up to get behind it?
Well, first of all, Lloyd, this is the initial report. Secondly, because the drug isn't patented, it's an old drug, if someone invests in researching it, they're not going to make a profit because anyone can make it. So we'll have to see. There are some agencies, public agencies, government agencies that may give it funding, but that's still a question that will have to be answered.
But unless big pharmaceutical companies are behind these things, they may go nowhere, is that it?
Well, actually, Lloyd, I've had 2 other stories where drugs have shown great promise in the preclinical phase, and because they were orphan drugs and no one picked up, nobody could get the patent on it, they've gone nowhere. So I will be keeping an eye on this one.
Thank you very much, Avis.
With military and White House influence, no one would dare declare Bionetics as negligence and liability in any outbreak. Listen now to the voice of the world's leading vaccine expert, Dr. Maurice Hilleman, chief of the Merck Pharmaceutical Company's vaccine division, relay this problem he was having with imported monkeys. He best explains the origin of AIDS, but what you are about to hear was cut from any public disclosures.
And I think that vaccines have to be considered the bargain basement technology for the 20th century.
50 years ago, when Maurice Hilleman was a high school student in Miles City, Montana, he hoped he might qualify as a management trainee for the local J.C. Penney store. Instead, he went on to pioneer more breakthroughs in vaccine research and development than anyone in the history of American medicine. Among the discoveries he made at Merck are vaccines for mumps, rubella, and measles.
Tell me how you found SB40, the polio vaccine.
Well, that was a Merck. Yeah, I came to Merck, and I was going to develop vaccines. And we had wild viruses in those days. Remember the wild monkey kidney viruses and so forth? And I finally, after 6 months, gave up. I said that you cannot develop vaccines with these damn monkeys. We're finished. And if I can't do something about it, I'm going to quit. I'm going to try it. So I went down to see Bill Mann at the zoo in Washington, D.C. And I told Bill Mann, I said, look, I got a problem. I don't know what the hell to do. Bill Mann was a very bright guy. And I said, these lousy monkeys are picking it up while being stored in the airports in transit at these loading, offloading, loading. He said, it's very simple. He said, you go ahead, get your monkeys out of West Africa, and get the African green, bring them into Madrid, unload them there. There are no other traffic through there for animals. Fly them into Philadelphia, pick them up. Or fly them into New York and pick them up. Right off the airplane. So I brought African greens, and I didn't know we were importing AIDS virus at the time. So of course Albert was very upset with me.
What did he say?
Well, he said basically that this is just another obfuscation that is going to upset vaccines. And I said, well, you're absolutely right. But I said, we have a new era here. We have a new era of a detection. And the important thing is to get rid of these viruses.
Why would he call it an obfuscation if it was a virus that was contaminating the vaccine?
Because, there are 40 different viruses in these vaccines anyway that we were inactivating. And
but you weren't inactivating his, though.
That's correct. No, that's right. But yellow fever vaccine had leukemia virus in it, and, this is in the days of very crude science. So anyway, I went down and talked to him, and I said, well, why are you concerned about it? I said, well, I'll tell you what. I said, I have a feeling in my bones that this virus is different. I don't know why to tell you this, but I've been around biology a long time. I just think this virus may have some long-term effects. And he said, what? I said, well, cancer.
I love it.
And
I love it. Go ahead.
No. I said, Albert, you probably think I'm nuts, but I just have that feeling. Well, in the meantime, we had taken this virus and put it into hamsters. So we had this meeting, and that was sort of the topic of the day, and the jokes that were going around was, gee, we would win the Olympics because the Russians would all be loaded down with tumors. This is where the vaccine was being tested. This was humor.
Right.
So, and it really destroyed the meeting. It was a big international.
Yeah, right.
So it was sort of a topic. Anyway.
Was this the Cancer Society meeting in the New York Cancer Society?
No, this was the Sister Kennedy.
Oh, it's Sister Kennedy, right.
And Del Becco got up and said that he foresaw problems with these kinds of agents.
Why didn't this get out in the press?
Well, I guess it did. I don't remember. We had no press release on it, obviously. You don't go out. This is a scientific affair within the scientific community.
Despite AIDS and leukemia suddenly becoming pandemic from wild viruses, Hilleman said this was good science at that time. Science directed for profit and population control by the military, medical, petrochemical, pharmaceutical cartel.
I'm standing outside here in front of a hospital. I live in Canada, and this is one of our hospitals here. And our medical system is a very good one. Well, one that I could be sort of say that I'm very proud of in regards to the rest of the world. Okay, that's one way that this system that the enemy has created has built man's pride to believe in certain issues related to them as a person. And when I say a person, I mean an individual, a human being. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the person, the corporation, because the human being is the one that has emotions. Okay, the person doesn't have emotions. The person is just an entity, just like this hospital is like a company. Okay, so this hospital or the medical profession in Canada has basically free health care, what they call free. But what you don't know is the system is built up on intertwining systems based on your person, the corporate you, the fictional you. The whole world is built up on these little tiny systems that are really false, not real systems. They're just they're little games that the hierarchy has tricked everybody into believing in. So in our system, like I said, we have free health care, and that free health care runs to a certain extent at this point in time. Before it was like everything was free and taken care of, but right now with the nearly demise of the human, most of the human race, everything is coming to a fold where all societies in the world are being brought down with this fake monetary system, the belief in money. The healthcare nowadays will make you pay for more and more stuff that you never had to pay for before. Like for some of your medicines, they're telling us that they're not covered under our system because they want you as a person, a group of people, to be more and more frustrated over the years. Now, with the medical profession, they want you to believe in this society that everything is taken care of until you get to a certain point and you need a certain X, Y, and Z medication or X, Y, and Z treatment, and you'll find out that you are no longer covered because of cutbacks, they call them. They're no longer funded because of the terminology they use. They don't have the sufficient funds from the government. So they give you the false claim that these things are not taken care of. Also, with the medical professions, there's treatments. The medicine that you use in many cases are more hypnotic drugs or addictive drugs to keep you connected to the system and bring down your demise of the world, of your emotions.